The sun, a cheerful, if slightly pixelated, orb, beat down on the verdant valley. For most, this was a battlefield of vibrant chaos, a joyous, if slightly violent, horticultural skirmish. But for me, for Root Master 77 inches as I was known in the digital ether, the verdant valley was a construction site, a strategic playground. The whispers of the survival mod had rippled through the player base, a tantalizing promise of a different kind of engagement. No more frantic rushes, no more decisive victories. This was about endurance, about building an unassailable bastion against the relentless tide of the undead. My first few rounds were a brutal lesson in humility. I'd expected to simply place a few pea shooters and sunflowers and let the AI do the heavy lifting. Oh, how wrong I was. The early waves were manageable, a gentle nudge from the zombie horde. But as the rounds progressed, the sheer numbers began to overwhelm my rudimentary defenses. A single chomper swallowed whole by a zomboni, a hastily placed sunflower a mere snack for a gargantuar. The replays were a testament to my ineptitude. That was when the gears in my mind began to turn, not with panic, but with a cold, calculated logic. This wasn't about reactive defense, it was about proactive fortification. I needed more than just offensive plants, I needed infrastructure. My base, in its infancy, was a humble affair. A cluster of sunflowers greedily soaking up solar energy, a few more cautious pea shooters positioned behind them. But with each wave survived, each hard-earned coin, my vision expanded. I started small, a line of walnuts, their stoic faces a shield against the initial onslaught. Behind them, Gatling peas, their rapid-fire projectiles a constant buzz of defiance. The mod, bless its buggy, beautiful soul, allowed for more than just plant placement. It allowed for construction. I discovered the thrill of welding metal girders, of laying down reinforced concrete, of erecting towering structures that would house my growing army. My initial base, a haphazard collection of plant defenses, began to transform. The first real structural breakthrough came with the reinforced greenhouse. It wasn't merely aesthetic. The thick, transparent walls offered a significant buffer. I positioned it strategically, allowing my sunflowers optimal light exposure while providing a protected zone for my more fragile offensive units. It became the nucleus of my expanding operation. As the rounds ticked by, the zombie onslaught intensified. Coneheads were replaced by bucketheads, then by mad scientists lobbing their vile concoctions. The early, lumbering zombies lumbered into more agile, more dangerous variants. My simple walnut lines were chipped away, their bark groaning under the relentless pressure. This is where the NPC element of the mod truly shone. I wasn't entirely alone. A grizzled old gardener, his face etched with the weariness of 1,000 battles, became my chief engineer. He'd shuffle around the base, barking orders which I, as Root Master 77 the base architect, interpreted and implemented, patching up defenses, and occasionally dispensing pearls of wisdom like, the undead are like weeds, lad. You can cut 'em down, but if you don't get the root, they'll always come back. Then there was Beatrice, the bouncing Betty expert. Her cheerful disposition belied a ferocious dedication to her explosive charges. She'd meticulously lay out minefields, her infectious whistle a prelude to the satisfying boom that announced another zombie wave decimated. I built her an elevated platform overlooking the main approach, giving her a clear vantage point and a safe haven. My base grew upwards and outwards. I constructed elevated walkways, allowing my pea-shooter-based artillery to rain down fire from above, out of reach of most melee attackers. Automated turrets, powered by my ever-expanding sunflower farm, were integrated into the walls. These weren't just static defenses, they were integrated systems, a living, breathing fortress. The zombie types became more varied. Electric boogaloos zipped through the air, their sonic blasts disruptive. I responded with a network of ice pea-shooters, their chilling projectiles slowing and incapacitating the aerial threats. Then came the gargantuars, their massive clubs capable of leveling entire sections of my carefully constructed defenses. My solution, the tectonic tremor module. A massive, buried device powered by an exorbitant amount of solar energy. When activated, it would send shockwaves through the ground, stunning and disorienting any zombies within a significant radius. It was my panic button, my trump card. The visual spectacle of my base became legendary in the mods community. It was less a garden and more a military installation carved out of living plant matter. Towering structures of interwoven vines and hardened bark housed automated defense systems. Rivers of nutrient-rich water flowed through trenches, powering specialized aquatic defense plants. Illuminated by the soft glow of bioluminescent fungi, my base hummed with an almost sentient energy. Round 50. A new threshold. The music, always a cheerful, upbeat tempo, began to take on a more ominous tone. The zombie types were now legendary, cobbled together monstrosities born from the mod's more extreme settings. A super zombie gargantuar, wielding a rocket launcher, lumbered into view. Panic was a luxury I could no longer afford. I had Beatrice ready, her minefield was a tapestry of explosive doom. I had the tectonic tremor primed. The old gardener was overseeing the repair crews, his gruff voice a steadying presence. The assault began. The Gargantuar, unfazed by the initial volley of P projectiles, charged. Beatrice's mines detonated with a series of deafening explosions, each one chipping away at its colossal health bar, but not enough. It reached the outer perimeter, its rocket launcher glowing ominously. Now, Root Master, the old gardener bellowed, his voice cracking. My finger hovered over the activation button for the tectonic tremor. I watched as the Gargantuar swung its club, smashing through a fortified walnut section like it was paper. Activate. The ground beneath the Gargantuar erupted. It staggered, its rocket launcher firing wildly, missing its intended target and instead vaporizing a horde of zombies behind it. The ground continued to shake, disorienting the zombies and giving my Gatling Ps the opening they needed. They unleashed a relentless barrage, their projectiles tearing into the stunned behemoth. It finally fell, a smoking, sparking husk. The remaining zombies, a chaotic mix of lesser threats, were mopped up by my automated turrets and strategically placed chompers. The victory music, usually a triumphant fanfare, felt hollow. It was just another night at the office. The mod continued to push me. New zombie variants, new challenges. I encountered airborne zombie motherships, requiring the development of high-altitude anti-air emplacements. I faced underground tunneling zombies, forcing me to create seismic sensors and burrowing defense plants. My base became a self-sustaining ecosystem of destruction. Massive solar farms provided the energy. Automated nutrient recyclers ensured my plants were always at peak performance. Specialized research labs, overseen by a brilliant but eccentric Citron named Drive. Armitage, worked on developing new defensive technologies. The old gardener had retired, his place taken by a younger, equally determined engineer named Rusty. Beatrice had trained a squad of Bouncing Betty apprentices, their synchronized whistling a terrifying prelude to combat. The Verdant Valley was no longer just a battlefield, it was a testament to my ingenuity. My base, a sprawling, multi-layered fortress, was a marvel of digital engineering. It was a place where sunflowers weren't just passive producers of energy, but the lifeblood of a vast military machine. Where pea shooters weren't just simple plants, but automated artillery platforms. The final round, or at least the highest round the mod allowed, was a legendary confrontation. The sky darkened, not with clouds, but with a swarm of zombombs. The ground shook with the arrival of a towering, cybernetically enhanced Gargantuar, wielding a mech-sized chainsaw. But I was ready. My base was a symphony of destruction. My automated defenses fired in perfect unison. Beatrice's apprentices unleashed a carpet of explosives. Dr. Armitage's latest invention, the solar flare cannon, a monstrous beam of concentrated sunlight, was charged and ready. The battle raged for what felt like an eternity. The zombombs rained down, but my reinforced greenhouse absorbed most of the impact. The Gargantuar's chainsaw roared, but its advance was halted by a wall of ice, slick terrain and detonating mines. Then, the solar flare cannon unleashed its fury. A blinding beam of light lanced across the battlefield, vaporizing the Gargantuar and scattering the remaining airborne threats. Silence. The usual victory music seemed subdued. I leaned back in my chair, the glow of the monitor reflecting in my tired eyes. I had done it. I had built an impregnable fortress. I had survived. But as I looked at my sprawling, complex creation, a strange sense of melancholy washed over me. The endless grind, the constant optimization, had become my life. The mod was designed for survival, for the long haul. And I had proven I could do it. But the true victory wasn't in surviving another round, it was in the journey, in the creation, in the sheer, unadulterated joy of building something truly extraordinary in the face of utter annihilation. The Verdant Valley, once a chaotic battlefield, was now my kingdom. And I, Root Master 77, the architect of defiance, was its tireless, unyielding ruler. The sun continued to shine, but now it illuminated a monument to perseverance, a testament to the power of a well-placed sunflower and an even better placed tricentennial. The zombies would return, I knew. But my base, my legacy, would be waiting.